received his call in March 1983. Reverend Mitchell nurtured his calling by furthering his Christ in education and attending the King is Coming Bible Institute, Oklahoma Baptist University, and the Johnson Memorial Bible Institute. He has also furthered his Christian studies at the University of Biblical Studies, Oklahoma City. In 1987, he completed a Bachelor of Science degree from Langston University. Reverend Mitchell has attended the E.K. Bailey Expository Preaching Program in Dallas, and he is presently working on his Master of Divinity degree at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Fort Worth, Texas. He was employed by the Oklahoma Department of Corrections from 1985 to 1992, having served the last 4 years of employment as a probation and parole officer. From 89 to 91, he served as the assistant to the pastor of Fairview Baptist Church in Oklahoma City. And in March 1992, he was called to the pastorate of Tabitha Baptist Church, where he has served faithfully for the past 14 years. Under Reverend Mitchell's leadership, several new programs have been established. New ministries initiated are the Drama Ministry, Grief Ministry, Growth Ministry, New Member Ministry, Tape Ministry, Youth Ministry, Senior Citizens Ministry, and Nurses Corps Ministry. Through the Holy Spirit and the leadership of Pastor Mitchell, 400 plus members have been added to the Tabitha congregation. Reverend Mitchell is married to Rhonda, and they have 3 children, Kelvin, Sharonda, and Jared. Pastor Mitchell, would you like to come up and lead our opening prayer?
Shall we bow in a moment of prayer? Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for its purpose, and we thank you for our participation. It is a day that you've made, and we are to rejoice in it. We pray your blessings now over these commissioners. We ask your guidance and your wisdom as they continue to provide leadership throughout our county. Father, grant them grace to face any and all unique circumstances that may arise. Give them insights into the needs of our community and discernment to make the decisions to continue to lead our county well. We ask your blessings over each and every one, and even the participants of this meeting, to the end that you would be glorified and your name would be continued to be lifted high. We love you and we thank you for this wonderful privilege. Bless us all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Will you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Reverend Mitchell.
Okay, if it's without objection, I think our employees of the month need to go first. So with item 61, Ms. Kent.
Good morning. We have one employee of the month that was able to be here today, so if we could bring up Robin Wright.
Grant had an appointment this morning, so I'm going to read his nomination for Kayla. It's with great pleasure that I nominate Kayla Beard for consideration for the BOCC Employee of the Month. Kayla continues to go above and beyond daily. Kayla has learned all aspects of the department's operation and is willing to take those duties on any time. With Kayla being the department's interviewer, she has built a strong relationship with the jail staff and works with them seamlessly to ensure there's no delay and the process is expedited. Kayla also delivers documents to the courts for review and ensures jail staff receives their documents without delay. Kayla is clearly dedicated to Oklahoma County Court Services, and the citizens that she serves. She conducts herself with professionalism and treats all those involved with the criminal justice system with respect. It is with great pleasure that I respectfully nominate Kayla Beard to be recognized as this month's BOCC Employee of the Month. You can do a picture.
All right, is there a motion to approve 61?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
She's left, but I'll also point out that a jail trustee was having some questions about how court services works, and it was said to call her, and she answered their questions, and they were very impressed with her. Okay. Going back, is there a motion to approve the minutes of January 3rd and January 9th?
I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Just the standard on the purchase card stuff, or is there something else? Standard, is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next is our claims.
I'll move our claims.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chantel.
Number 4, I'm asking to defer this item. We are still evaluating and will present a word at the next meeting.
Is there a motion to defer?
I'll move to defer.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Number 5 is a recommendation for Project 10033 Court Clerk 4th Floor Remodel. There was a group from the Court Clerk's Office Engineering and Purchasing Department that conducted interviews. GH2 Architects, Guernsey, and Small Architects were shortlisted from our pre-qualified list of architects, and the evaluation committee unanimously scored in favor of selecting Small Architects, which was presented to Policy and Governance, who is forwarding that recommendation to this body for consideration to select Small Architects for this project.
Can you remind us who did this Explore?
The architect,
Mhm.
I believe that was Small Architects as well.
Okay.
I will move the recommendation of the purchasing office.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 6 is a recommendation for P2337-201, Owner's Representative. A short list was this was put out on the street specifically for Owner's Rep, and we received 9 responses for this RFP. A short list was based on feedback from engineering facilities in my office, presented to public improvement infrastructure. There was 4 groups that the infrastructure committee shortlisted: ADG, Broadway, Ruth Knapp, and William White and Associates. All 4 firms presented to the infrastructure committee, and at a subsequent meeting, the public improvements committee made a recommendation to select William White as their owner's representative, and that recommendation is being passed on to this board for consideration.
What's this an owner's representative for?
This is for ARPA projects, mainly the construction projects. I think Stacy has the full comprehensive list. In the RFP, we presented about 5 projects that we knew of at the time, with a disclosure that projects could change because it was still being vetted through the Policy and Governance Committee. But I think we're up to 17 or 18 projects now.
Yeah, totaling about 64 million.
So the projects that they'll oversee is about $64 million so far.
So far.
What's the typical pay schedule for something like this? Is it like 10 to 15%, or is that would seem to be a lot of money?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that high, but I don't know what it'll be until we get into negotiations. It's too high. You don't have to approve the contract. You get one more shot at it.
If a contract cannot be agreed upon through the process that's stated in the RFP, then we can go back to our list and try to negotiate with the next qualified vendor.
And then who decides the parameters of the contract? Who's going to decide the rate at which we pay an owner's rep?
That's a negotiated amount.
The offices involved are between engineering and I. We negotiate with the vendor.
Then they present the contract to us, so
Yes.
that's where we can balk at it if we don't like it.
I just suspect that this is going to be a rather large figure, of which we probably would completely wipe out anything that we have left. in ARPA, or we would have to reduce the amount of which we would spend on each individual project.
I remember a couple weeks ago, we voted on adding a small, like a percentage onto some of our capital projects. Was that for change orders or was that to hire an owner's rep?
I believe it was for both. It was a dual purpose.
Okay.
Administrative fees, which would apply to owner's rep, as well as change order monies towards the project itself,
Okay.
if those needed to be realized.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
So we built in a little bit that can go towards this,
Yes.
but we're not sure yet if it will cover the full amount since we haven't even negotiated an amount yet.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What's your pleasure? Go forward on this or not?
I'll move the recommendation of the purchasing
We got another shot at it, so I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there a change to the blanket?
There is a change. There's a contract later on under engineering, and once that is concerned, I'd be happy to bring this back up at the end of the docket.
So keep this till the end of the docket.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consent agenda, is there any individual consideration? It's a pretty lengthy one. If not, is there a motion to take it as a whole?
I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then appointment to a person to serve on the Oklahoma County Planning Commission.
So I have served on the Planning Commission for the last 4 years. I'm happy to continue serving, but I wanted to give either of you, and specifically Commissioner Davidson, the opportunity if you wanted to serve, because so many of the projects that come before Planning Commission are District 3 because of the growth that's happening there. So I'm happy to continue serving, but I wanted to give you the opportunity if you wanted to, you can serve on that board.
Whatever the pleasure of the board is.
There's our chance. Sticking with it.
I'll nominate Commissioner Miles Davidson to be our representative on the Planning Commission.
Second.
Herd of turtles. Objection?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I
District
think the
1.
one person that says thank you enough is Carrie, right?
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Item number 36 is our regular agreement with the 911 emergency telephone fee rate. This is a 3% rate. It is unchanged from last year, so this is just a regular agreement. I will move approval. If there's no questions.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Item 37 is an agreement between Oklahoma County and the town of Lake Aluma. It is for the installation of roadway safety cable barriers along Lake Aluma Drive. If you all have driven through Lake Aluma, I believe it is their only street. And the town will be reimbursing the county $45,000 for a $54,000 project. So pretty good deal.
It's a nice neighborhood.
Yes. I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Item 38 and 39 are to appoint one of us to serve on Criminal Justice Authority and the Jail Trust. Obviously, Commissioner Calvi was representing us on both of those groups, and I know that Commissioner Davidson, you have an item later on addressing this as well. So I just wanted to bring this before us so we could appoint someone and have a discussion.
I actually did my item different. I actually bundled it too, so either way, you could take them individually, or we could do it later as one, either way.
I'm willing to serve on the advisory council if that's the board's pleasure.
Second.
Did you make a motion?
No.
Okay, I'll move that we appoint Commissioner Brian Mon to serve on the Criminal Justice Advisory Council.
All in favor, say aye. on the jail trust?
As you guys know, I've spent the last 4+ years working on the jail trust and would really love to continue that service. I've had meetings and done a lot of work preliminarily with members of the trust, and I'd love to keep doing that if you guys would see fit.
I would love to serve as well, but I realize that this is a pretty big commitment. And I'm always surprised when the folks we want to appoint to the jail trust take us up on that offer. So I would love to serve, but I think Commissioner Davidson, if you would like to, I'm supportive of that as well. So.
Thank you.
So you're going to make me choose?
No, I'll appoint Commissioner Davidson to serve on the Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your willingness to serve. That's it. Big commitment, as you mentioned. Okay. This is just a standard thing that we have had in the past annually for several years about the U.S. Attorney's Office offering this program in our jury assembly room. We've checked with the dates. I think what's different maybe is that we're doing all the dates here at once, so we don't have to have these items come up over and over. And I've visited with Keith about it, and he's good, and the court clerk is good, so it's a nice service to be able to provide. And they do not need parking, so we do not have to worry about the parking garage, which has been an issue with others that have used our building after hours in the past.
Can you remind me, do we have the sheriff's office staff this? Or do they bring their own security?
They contract their security, is my understanding.
Okay.
So obviously it's done in conjunction with the sheriff's office because they open and close the front door.
Okay.
This was something that was done by U.S. Attorney Ashley Allshooter. He started this deal and he passed earlier this year, way too young. And they're doing this, continuing on his memory, and it's nice to see his colleagues wanting to work so hard to carry his vision on. If there's no objection, I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
District 3.
This one's just the Edmond Board of County Commissioners to reconstruct Coffee Creek. This will be the first undertaking I have with the city of Edmond. Agreement's not to exceed $630,000, and I'll happily approve it or make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The next are just a bunch of appointments. However, we do not need to make an appointment to the Board of County Commissioners to name our deputy. That's just done by statute. So I will make a motion to strike item 42.
Can you introduce Dawn Cash? Is she here?
She is here. I can introduce her. I can even drag her up here to the microphone if she can speak for the next 5 hours. Dawn Cash is my chief deputy. She's back there on the back row. And if you haven't had an opportunity to meet her, please do so. She's a great lady and has had many years of experience, even though she's so young here in government. So.
And I understand
bring
you
her
came from the AG's office. Wonderful. Okay.
Well, she was as far as I know, she's the only female attorney general. She appointed by Governor Fallon. So, motion to strike this item.
Okay, I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
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 And this one's for policy and governance to Chelsea Barnett as to put Dawn Cash in to replace Chelsea Barnett. I'll make the motion.
That
Second.
makes Chelsea the alternate also.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then strike 44.
Well, we can, or you could you could use it to name your alternate here. Either way.
So we have an alternate to the advisory council also?
You do.
Okay, well, I'll nominate that it be Jessica Clayton. Make that the motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks for catching that. I did not know we had alternates for that.
Yep.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Good morning. Item 45 is for our defined contribution retirement plan. This is a fund change. The retirement board approved it on 12/19, just asking for your approval.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then number 46 is the same fund change, but it's in the employee retirement account where only employee contributions go, the 457 account. The retirement approved this also on 12/19.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, emergency management.
Good morning, Commissioners. Items 47 through 55 represent ARPA Project 10066, which is the Emergency Management Public Safety Communications Project. This is for law enforcement access to the Oklahoma City trunked 800 megahertz radio system. These departments already own the equipment. There is no equipment involved in this whatsoever. It's simply access fees. You can take these as a group or individually as your preference.
So correct me if I'm wrong. You said this is not the equipment piece of it. These are their fees to be on the correct radio system.
Yes, ma'am. That's
Okay.
correct.
And again, correct me if I'm wrong. We allocated ARPA money to actually purchase the radios for these communities, but keep them on our inventory.
That's correct. That equipment will be going into the fire rescue departments who are on a different, basically flavor of radio system.
Okay.
They will be coming to this system as well. The radio equipment was necessary for their move.
Okay. And this pays for their fee through 2026.
Yes, in the fiscal year 2026.
Okay. And I assume that these communities are aware that after 2026, they will have to fund this themselves.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, speaking for the communities in District 1, I know they are very grateful for this and very excited that we chose to do this. So
It's already made very positive change. Not all of these departments, a couple of these departments were already on that system. Others have migrated over there and they have seen significant improvement in service, which translates into officer safety as well as public safety as a whole.
I'll
Okay.
move items 47 through 55. I'll
Yes.
move approval.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for doing that, David. I know you've been through that on many years now.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Engineering.
Yes, this is to acquire a couple of parcels along the Hogback Road. They were originally secured in about 2008. We built a local road adjacent to the new turnpike gate out there. We didn't quite get enough right of way, and this is kind of a cleanup to get enough right of way to cover that road that we built.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then item 57, we received another FEMA grant, similar to our XXX for the Wilshire location. And this is to kick that off. It'd be the engineering work with Meshach for $415,000. And that 75% of that will be reimbursed back to us from the grant. And then hopefully we'll get awarded the construction in a few years.
Okay.
And I know that Mayor Poland and the town of Jones are very excited about this as well. So I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Items 58, 59, and 60 are lease agreements between the BOCC and the Public Building Authority for court services, mental health court, and drug court, relocating them from the 5th floor of the Investors Capitol building to the 3rd floor.
And we've already worked with setting up Shine to be able to assist and help and move. So just as they did with at least District 3's office. I don't know if they
Okay.
helped you, but.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. Is there a motion?
I do have a question that maybe you and I can talk about this offline, but we've allocated ARPA money to redo the fourth floor, the court clerk's area. Is the court clerk's office planning to move over to ICB?
That's been discussed. I believe that's the plan, but we haven't recognized that formally.
Okay.
You have a better suggestion?
Not today, maybe later. So the fifth floor renovation on ICB, I think I asked you this last week, but we have not, have we allocated funding for that yet?
No, we've gone out to bid for demolition services for that particular floor. And I don't think we've received any closure on that as of yet.
Okay, okay. And I assume it will look similar to the third floor.
It could.
Okay. Okay. If there are no other questions, I'll move approval of items 58, 59, and 60.
You don't want to go further to putting him on the record?
I won't do that to you today, Keith.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, correct me if I'm wrong on this, somebody from Policy and Governance, but I don't believe they selected an Employee of the Year, and we
Yet.
probably either want to defer or strike this item. But yeah, they have not selected anybody yet.
I'll move that we defer item 61 because I believe you're correct.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Eric?
Did I do it wrong? Miles.
The first item, number 62, is a final plat for a commercial development. It's called Waterloo in Portland. It's essentially, I think it's 8 lots that make up this commercial development. There's no improvements that are required to be built at this point as far as roads or anything. They're essentially going to do those improvements as they move forward with each building. So everything, this was passed by the Planning Commission and here for you today for your approval.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
– 63 is a rezoning application. This is off of Waterloo and Coltrane, just about a quarter of a mile, maybe half a mile south of Waterloo on Coltrane on the east side. The applicant proposed to rezone the property to commercial. It was originally R2. It's a small piece of property. It's about 1.27 acres. What they're wanting to put there is a electrical business. He's an electrical contractor. So he's going to have storage there and some office space of his equipment in regards to supplies for the electrical work that he does for residential and commercial projects. So the Planning Commission approved that. It's in front of you guys today for your approval.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 64 is a rezoning. It's for a PUD. It's a planned unit development. It is on MacArthur and Northwest 206th on the northeast corner of that intersection. It's right across the street from the Deer Creek School Complex there. And what they're wanting to do is essentially a commercial, it's 10 acres. It's commercial development where they're going to have a strip mall and various other commercial uses there to serve the school. The Planning Commission approved it. The only item that we had concern with that they think they're going to be able to get is sewer. And so we're still waiting on that, but they feel confident that that's something they're going to be able to get. So, like I said, the Planning Commission approved it, and it's just here for your approval today.
This is actually an exciting project. You sat in it. It's much more than a strip mall. I've talked with the developers extensively, and this is going to be something that's going to change the landscape out there, and I think it's going to be great for everybody out there. So I'd make the motion to approve.
And can you remind me, are they getting access to Deer Creek water?
Right, we do have a letter from Deer Creek Water
Okay.
stating they're gonna serve it.
Okay. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, is it Joe or who's going to lead us in policy and governance? Okay, I thought you had put these on there though. Did you not?
Sure.
But I was thinking, am I right? These are yours?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I placed them on both at P&G and on the agenda, working with Brandy. So the first one is a recommendation from P&G to reserve $2 million from our ARPA funds. The money would go to Oklahoma County Home Finance Authority, and they could partner with the city of Oklahoma City on affordable housing projects. The reason this is a recommendation to reserve the funds is it's not been through our consultant's review at this time. However, the use of this money has been approved in other areas as meeting the ARPA guidelines. And we have with us today Jared Davidson and Aubrey McDermott, if you'd like to hear from them.
Brandy, did you have anything to add before they came up? Okay.
Happy to let Brandy talk. Good morning, Commissioners. Jared Davidson, represent the Oklahoma County Home Finance Authority, and we were approached really kind of the beginning fourth quarter last year. We held a meeting in December, kind of relative to making an ARPA request. Obviously, things moved as the course of things that we did that we just weren't aware of. And so we targeted a specific request that we're moving kind of from a transitional phase where we've been supporting emergency rental housing as kind of the programs outlined in SLRF by the feds for ERA 1 and ERA 2. And the biggest need that we see right now is not perpetuating, that continuing assistance, but actually, coming up with a creative solution to provide some additional affordable housing stock for those individuals and families that are getting ready to roll off of all of those ERA funds. And so we found a unique partnership opportunity with City of Oklahoma City and Aubrey McDermott, where they've gone out and they're using their ARPA funds and have solicited proposals from various developers, those kinds of things, to actually increase affordable housing stock in Oklahoma City and Oklahoma County. And so we kind of view this as an excellent opportunity to partner with our other governmental agencies locally to bring that impact further to Oklahoma County. I'll let Aubrey discuss the specifics of the project if you will indulge her, Commissioners.
Madam City Manager.
Good morning. Aubrey McDermott, Assistant City Manager for the City of Oklahoma City. Thank you so much for allowing me to come talk about what Oklahoma City is doing today. And I know that Oklahoma County has been through this whole process of transitioning from CARES to emergency rental assistance to ARPA to figuring out how to do the emergency response piece to the pandemic and then stretch those dollars in order to get back to kind of life as normal, which is probably not as normal as it used to be. So Oklahoma City has been strategizing how to stretch those dollars. In 2021, we did a housing study, a housing affordability study, and this was for all of Oklahoma City, and I think we have breakdowns so we could look specifically at Oklahoma County numbers. But what that study told us is that we needed 44,000 affordable housing units to either be rehabbed or built anew to serve the existing population in Oklahoma City that needs it. So we recognize that ARPA provides us some opportunities to get ahead of that. We also know that we have MAPS 4, but MAPS 4 money is probably not going to be seen in terms of that housing being ready to go for several years, whereas we recognized our city ARPA money could be used to get out the door because it has spending deadlines that in the next 2 years we need these projects to be ready to go on the ground. So the city of Oklahoma City put out an RFP. We received 21 proposals from different housing developers. We had $8.25 million reserved from the city's ARPA funds. That is able to get us 9 of the 21 projects, which will equate to 600 housing units. So we're very excited about that breakdown. The projects ranged in types from single-family construction affordable housing to rehab of existing units to micro units for transitional housing to support things like veterans and women with children and families, people straight from a homeless situation into housing. So a full gamut of projects. So the remaining projects we were unable to fund have already been reviewed by a selection committee for conforming to ARPA criteria. One of our requirements was that these had to be shovel-ready developments, that they had to have funding structures in place, that they were a real deal. So there are several projects. 100% of these projects are within Oklahoma County, so all 21 projects. So this could be a process where we felt like we already have a system in place, it's been vetted, it is compliant, and this is a means for Oklahoma County to piggyback on an Oklahoma City program that we could partner with you on administering to be able to stretch our dollars and get more affordable housing in the county. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And just for the record, can you describe for folks when we say affordable housing, what does that actually mean?
So the requirements under ARPA is that it's below 65% of area median income. Most of the projects that we received were targeting 60% or below. Some of them were very, very low. Some of them were within the range of 30% area median income. All of these projects guaranteed an affordability period of over 20 years, so we know that it will remain affordable for at least that period of time. So these are units that are going to serve the population that really doesn't have access to that housing market right now, that we know we really need to ramp up efforts to stabilize people and keep people from falling into homelessness.
So with this investment, who owns the housing?
So most of these developers are, I would say the minority of the developments were single-family for-own developments. Most of these are trying to maximize the number of units in that income range. So they'll be multifamily for the most part. And so the developers will have they will own the housing and it'll be rental stock. I'd have to go back and look at the proposals that Oklahoma City is not funding to see what the range of those proposals would be, but I think the majority of them are multifamily.
So the developers would be the ones that owned, operated, and benefited from the rent, or?
Probably not. I would say that the developers are going to have partnership agreements on who operates. So, and they're all going to be different situations. I'm happy to drill down into that information and get that back to you.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important information, because Oklahoma County investing into this and then owning the housing, if we have to then come back and refurbish, or we suddenly become the landlords, I don't think that's really our.
I don't think any of the proposals were that. I think these are private developments, so it'd just be an investment in the capital.
Yeah, it was not my understanding we would retain ownership when this was done.
No, it's more or less a grant to a private developer to build affordable housing, one and done. It's an investment in the housing itself.
And it's been getting developers to build truly affordable housing has been a struggle.
It really doesn't happen without some form of incentive. And what we're finding is that, the existing resources that developers have, like through LIHTC and other sources, are really just not enough to meet the gap, because it is not something a developer goes into to make money. Yeah. So with this one-time chance of us helping layer or meet the gap, it's helped. Many of these projects have come in for ARPA that were already in the works, that developed a gap because the construction industry has just exploded, material costs have increased, and so even if they had their financing lined up, they're starting to see an increase in costs. So this money was strategically used in negotiation with developers to help meet that demand so they could actually complete the projects. So it's a but-for situation in many of these cases.
And I assume that all the projects have to be, the money has to be spent, the project has to be built by end of 2026.
Correct.
Okay.
It has to be obligated by the end of 2024 and the project completed by the end of 2026.
Okay.
So Oklahoma City Housing and Urban Development Authority, are they the ones that are gonna manage the properties? And see, this is where I'm struggling here. We're gonna make a $2 million investment. Somebody's gonna own that property.
Sure.
And I haven't heard who's gonna own it. Somebody's gonna have to manage that property and somebody's gonna have to take care of it.
Right.
And then there's gonna be rental assistance and rent that comes in on top of it. And who's all of that
Not-
going to?
This program doesn't incorporate any rental assistance. It's just to build the housing.
Okay.
So whoever the developer is that is proposing to build the housing may be the manager of the apartment complex or the multifamily. So it's all a privately done thing.
I think basically what, to me, the delineation between this and say what we did with CARES is that we gave money to private individuals who own properties because that went straight to the landlords. It did not go to the residents that were there. And so essentially it went to private hands directly from government coffers, but it was just gone. There's nothing to show for it. If the tenant moved, then it was over. If they didn't have enough and they still got evicted, it was over. So there's nothing really left to show for our investment. And that was what my concern was as we were navigating this channel with this particular proposal, is that it is somewhat establishing a permanent housing. It's a private-public partnership in the sense that it's not a goner, because we were just covering one person's rent for 1 month in a house. And then after that, it didn't help anybody before. To me, am I saying that right as far as the delineation?
Absolutely. The way that we've looked at this from the city's perspective is kind of like, and ARPA allows for projects that the city can do for infrastructure and capital investment through revenue replacement category. So what we're doing is we're rebuilding infrastructure to serve the future of our community. So in essence, this would be doing that for the community in terms of housing.
Right.
I would add just one thing is Treasury came out with a very specific list of kind of eligible compliant uses specifically for affordable housing. And that's all part of the final rule. And Joe mentioned that, this hasn't gone through, the consultant. But we are targeting the presumptively eligible categories here. And so there are a list of requirements. Got to meet that income requirement. The developers have to promise to hold that as affordable housing for at least 20 years. And there will be a deed restriction or whatever that's filed as part of that property. If it's not, then, the Home Finance Authority or the city can go back and foreclose on that and require them to pay those dollars back to us in an allocable portion to what the development of that cost is. So to Commissioner Mon's point, this is an opportunity to provide a tangible resource for affordable development in Oklahoma County for 20 years. What happens after that? Hopefully we've spurred, some additional investment in that meantime. But that kind of gives us some hard housing stock that would be available in the next 18 months to 2 years, hopefully, to provide some homes for these folks that need it.
Are you saying you're wanting to hold this money back for other projects and this isn't where you would choose to spend it? Is that the issue, or you just don't have it? You just don't?
There's numerous questions that have yet to be answered. I don't even know where these properties are at. Are these properties going to be inside of TIF districts of which we're not going to get property taxes on, for one? That's a big, major concern. From what I understand from Jared, it sounds like the developer themselves will keep the deed. They'll own the property.
Well, you don't want the property.
No, I certainly don't. But I've got additional questions that I think Jerry could probably answer for me, or somebody probably could. But I think there's $1 million when we're rolling down on 4 or 6 it's a pretty big investment.
We're asking to reserve the money so that they can begin the process of exploring with our consultants the eligibility on these projects. Essentially what we have here are public-private partnerships. that have traditionally been used by other entities. This is the first time that I'm aware the board has considered one in this manner for affordable housing. And as they pointed out, some of these homes will actually be owner occupied, which would ultimately increase the tax revenue base for Oklahoma County going forward as well. So there are still some things to be worked out. As you know, the ARPA funds that we had available to us in Oklahoma County were beginning to be greatly diminished. We felt it was important that we make a recommendation to reserve the funds to provide this type of assistance going forward. So you'll get another opportunity, as the agenda item says. Nothing would go forward until it's been vetted by the consultants, all the questions answered, and the subrecipient agreements are in place.
And Aubrey, you said that 21 developers submitted projects, and with the funding Oklahoma City allocated, you could fund 9 of them.
Correct.
If we were to approve this $2 million, would that add on to the 9?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so I was looking at the projects that we were unable to fund just to kind of get a scope of who the proposers were. The next one's down on the list. There's an 8-unit proposal, a 12-unit, a 35-unit, a 37-unit, 216, and 314. So these are, oh, there's more on the back. Several different ranges of different types of projects. So, you know, as our selection committee has scored and ranked these projects, they've looked at trying to maximize the dollars to get the greatest number of units out. So if all things are equal, they would choose to fund a project with more units. So again, that's a process that we would lend ourselves to discuss with the trust and try to come up with what the county deems as the best types of projects to fund.
So are you wanting to make sure some of these are built in your district? Is that
I'd like
part of your concern?
No, my concern is I don't know where they're at.
They're scattered all over the city, but I'm happy
Well, in
to
these
share the information
proposals,
from the
they
proposals.
are stating, I guess, a prospective site, right?
Yes. Actually, one of the proposals is scattered sites to be acquired, but the rest are specific sites, so we can give locations.
And back to your comment at the beginning, in the study you all did, our community is in need of 44,000 additional affordable housing units, whether that's an apartment or a house or a condo.
Right.
So funding these 600 units and then potentially the money we're about to add, I mean, that's just a drop in the bucket.
Right.
Compared to what's needed.
Correct.
So.
One quick additional point is we anticipate the County Home Finance Trust would be the ones that make the decision on which projects actually get funded, kind of out of the remaining piece. And so City of Oklahoma City, we would enter into some kind of MOU if there's confidentiality or whatever, proprietary information with the developers. We would enter into an MOU with City of Oklahoma City for them to share those with us. And then we would establish a review criteria at the Home Finance Authority level to be able to drill down and answer a lot of your specific questions, Commissioner Davidson.
So with Oklahoma County Home Finance Authority being involved, does the indenture allow what we're trying to do, first of all?
Yes.
Okay, and then what kind of, are they looking at doing a match? I know that there's some things coming up that they had talked about being able to increase bonding capacity and do some of that. Is this
those are all
going to
things
match with this stuff?
So those are all things in the work currently. I can't give you specifics on a particular project, but there is a project coming that the commissioners and the board will see in at least a couple of months, relative to kind of increasing, that workforce targeted affordable housing component as well.
And then what's their balance sheet look like currently? Do they have the ability to match this, or can they put any money towards this same type of project?
So most of the Home Finance Authority's dollars are tied up in the administrative fund relative to the bonds that are out there right now. There will need to be a conversation, kind of as we get ready to gear up, as interest rates remain high, the county restarts its single-family down payment assistance and mortgage revenue bond program, kind of how we best allocate those dollars. But as the commissioners know, we're a staff of one and whatever I am, and so we're a pretty lean agency, and we operate on a pretty lean budget. So
And about to be half of that.
And about to be half of that.
Yeah.
Is Mr. Pettis still here? As a trustee, do you have anything you'd like to add? I just want to make sure we give you an opportunity. Mr. Pettis has served on the Oklahoma County Home Finance Authority for 20 years.
I think
Yes.
all of them have.
Good
Probably the
morning,
most.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the commissioners. As a member of the Oklahoma County Home Finance Authority, I am in support of this allocation to our agency to provide additional affordable housing. It's really difficulty out there for families to find rental housing and even home ownership. So anything that this county can do with this windfall of monies to help that, I think the county and the taxpayers will be better off in solidifying our tax base, because this money will be going into construction of units for the families to live in, decent, safe, and affordable housing. The city of Oklahoma City has done a really good job in vetting these complexes to make sure that there's no question as to their availability of their eligibility for the ARPA funds. So I would ask that you all support the allocation of the $2 million for our trust, and whatever requirements you put on our trustees, we'll make sure that that's done and the money is spent as desired. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pettis. I think they're the longest serving continuity board, maybe in Oklahoma. So are you wanting to make sure some of these are built in each district or your district? Is that part of your concern, that this is not just in a central area?
No, as I stated before, I don't know where any of the projects are at now.
I know, but I'm trying to go with where you're wanting to, I mean, what does it matter, I guess?
If they're in TIF districts, they're frozen for the next 25 years when it comes to property tax. And I think that affects us greatly, and it affects the taxpayers of the entire county. That's the biggest concern. And as we look at layering upon layering upon layering of TIF districts, as they reach over to Cowtown, et cetera, we have to be more responsible about what we're doing with those TIFs and where we're going with certain projects. This being them. And a $2 million investment isn't anything to scoff at. So anything that we put inside of one of those is gone for the next 25 years.
Well, of course, individually, they're not going to be anywhere near 2 million. This is 2 million spread across how many projects?
Yeah.
So individually, they're going to be just
21 potentially, but 2 million is still going to be your tax cap.
Yeah, but I can't imagine all of them are going to be in TIF districts. And also, I don't think that, do we know if any of these are going to be considered a nonprofit, like a YWCA type of a thing, or anything where they would be exempt from property taxes anyway?
I really can't tell by looking at the descriptions of the projects.
Sure, okay,
Sorry.
no problem. So are you wanting a motion to defer on this, or?
No, it's up to you guys.
Well, I mean, your designee was against it because it wasn't set up for the portal, and we were waiting on a censor's ruling on that. So is that still your concern about that, or are you just against it altogether, or?
Well, that's for one. I mean, we did that with the additional items that Commissioner Calvi did. We put them through the process. And my understanding on it, when we've circumvented so far, is probably the biggest help that we could possibly do for homelessness and helping those types of individuals, and that was with a unanimous vote of $40 million for a mental health facility.
If I might address the portal issue, Commissioners. The portal that we were discussing had to do with entities outside of Oklahoma County government. These two projects specifically, the sponsor, if you will, are Oklahoma County. One, you all transferring the money to the Home Finance Authority, which is a trust, the same as the jail trust. The second project would actually be a partnership with the state of Oklahoma and the city of Oklahoma City. So you all would be the partnering agency there. So that was a distinction, at least in my mind, with regard to the portal issue. And again, this is just to reserve the funds for both of those projects pending the vetting process. And as Jared said, the Home Finance Authority would review all of the information for the applicants and determine which projects and where those locations are that would ultimately be funded. So
Yeah.
just a point of clarification.
Yeah, I didn't think this was an appropriate project to have you all apply through the portal since you're a county entity. So,
What I'm trying to get at is there something that you want more time at to get comfortable about it, or you're just against it altogether?
As it sits right now, I can't be comfortable voting yes for it.
But is there a way to modify it to where you're for it, or?
Well, there's a lot of information about it that I haven't seen. I mean, I'd like to see the list of the 21 potential projects for one.
So are you asking for a deferral is what I'm asking? Do you need more time on this, or you just don't think you're for it?
Again, as it currently sits, I'm not for it.
Again, do you want a deferral or not? If so, I recognize it's $2 million and that's a lot of money with what we've got left, and I support that. If you're just saying in general there's nothing you're going to do to be for it, then it doesn't matter if we put it off or not.
No, I think it's just reserving. If you want to reserve the funds, I can't see myself doing that, but that gives time for a lot of the information to present itself. So all you're doing at this point is reserving these funds, and that allows for plenty of time to get that information to each individual office and each individual commissioner. And
We are, but I think it's giving a signal to the city and the authority to begin putting earnest effort in. So if we weren't really ultimately going to ratify it, then I think it's a bunch of wasted effort. So I wouldn't want to do this and then say, but there's a chance we're not going to follow through. I mean, with every intention, there's obviously potential possibilities where something comes up, but it would be, I think, our intention that we're certainly moving forward if we decide to go forward today.
right, and if you move forward today, it would be your same intention later, correct? Unless you're advocating that you could change your vote later with the information that's provided.
and I'll add, Commissioner Davidson, I hear your concerns. They're legitimate concerns. But for me, if this doesn't bring us one penny of property tax, it doesn't matter to me. Providing people affordable housing is what matters. And I think we have an opportunity with this money to do that. And we will not retain ownership. We will not, after this investment and the Home Finance Authority works through all the whole process, we won't have to retain any ownership or have any stake in it, other than we've provided affordable housing for folks in our community. So those are just my thoughts, that whether or not it brings in property taxes is not necessarily an issue for me. I think it's a pretty unique opportunity that we get to, we might be able to do this. So
yeah, the project itself, the reason for doing it is great. I just got some of those questions to get answered, and if we're running through the portal and all we're doing is reserving, that time is there.
Okay.
well,
Is there a motion?
I went ahead and moved the item.
I wanted to be clear. I'll second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there opposed?
Opposed? No.
Okay, 2-1. Item 66.
Thank you, Aubrey and Jared and Mr. Pettis.
Thank you for your time.
Commissioners, the construction of this item is similar to the one you just considered. It is an opportunity to partner with the state of Oklahoma and the city of Oklahoma City in an effort to bring Griffin Memorial Hospital here. Heath Hayes with the department, I believe, is here to tell you a little bit more about the projects, but it's an opportunity to bring additional mental health treatment and beds here to Oklahoma County. So,
Sorry for your delay, sir. Thank you for your time.
That's the beauty of being able to be technology connected all the time. I've been working while you've been here. Heath Hayes, love to share all the information with you that is about the move of Griffin Memorial Hospital, potential move of Griffin to Oklahoma City. We have secured money from the state ARPA process to build
the new hospital. We've been working on this plan actually for 10 years. It's to replace 100-year-old buildings in Norman, and I'm going to offset the costs to build the new hospital and the money that we've received from the state ARPA process by selling the land in Norman. Of course, it's a lot more attractive if we sell it all together versus parsing it out and staying. So there's opportunity here in Oklahoma City and a lot of interest from family foundations, the city of Oklahoma City, and other potential partners. OSU OKC has been willing to deed us some land potentially here in Oklahoma City, north of Reno, south of OSU OKC. The cost to move and prepare that land to build a new hospital is about $10 million. And so we're about 1.5 away from securing that $10 million to be able to make that move and that decision. So that's where we're at. We have a huge economic benefit. We're adding 223 jobs. There's an estimation of about 90 million in terms of the taxes generated from those new jobs and the costs of deterring people from the emergency room, et cetera. So happy to answer any questions that you might have about the total project.
Can you explain to folks who may not know about Griffin the level of services you all provide compared to a crisis center or another mental health facility that may not be as for folks who are as acute?
Absolutely. So Griffin Memorial Hospital, as it stands now, is, like I said, about 100 years old, and it serves the most acute individuals across the state. And so that would not change with what it is that we're able to provide. With this new move and this potential restructure and rebuilding, we would consolidate some of the facilities that we have in Norman and to include an adolescent psychiatric hospital for children. So the total bed count for this hospital would be about 330. 275 of those would be adult beds, and then 60 of those beds would be reserved for adolescents. And so it'll range from anywhere from the most acute folks to the urgent recovery type model to outpatient services. So we will also increase the capacity of our residency program, psychiatrists in residency, and the hope would be to also lean into the relationship with OSU OKC right across the street to develop some more workforce, specifically around nursing and tech positions that are really difficult to fill right now.
On this project, I've had extensive discussions with a bunch of the people involved. I've known Heath and his boss for quite a while, and we've discussed this extensively, and I think this is going to not only benefit the state, but it's also going to be benefiting the county jail and the things that we're trying to do because it's going to be right in our backyard. So I think this is an easy investment to make. I know it's going to be matched about 6-7 times over for our money. And one of the things with ARPA is they encourage us to match time and time again. And I think that's a good thing, just like what we're doing with the deal before with the $2 million in the city. So
I'm thoroughly excited about this. I think it's going to address a number of issues in our community, so I'm wholeheartedly for it. Is there any other discussion?
I'll add one more thing. This is the only state publicly funded psychiatric hospital in our entire state, correct?
So we have another hospital in Tulsa that is also an ARPA project. We'll actually break ground in March. So it's it's another one of the similar, smaller in capacity, but similar in terms of its most acute, adult focused. Nobody's turned away regardless of their ability to pay or to pay. We take everything. So there's another one.
Is Veneta?
Veneta is very specific to a population for criminal justice that are not guilty by reason of mental health or not able to stand trial so where they're treated to competency before they can.
Right. Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval on item 66.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you again
Thank
for your
you,
time.
Heath.
Thank you.
Okay. Infrastructure, is that you?
Items 67 and 68 are recommendations from infrastructure to you all. The first one deals with staffing for your bond oversight committee. This is a pretty timely item since their first meeting is this afternoon. So it would just have engineering and planning, facilities and purchasing assist them in the performance of their duties as they advise you on the construction of the new jail.
And I assume that engineering, planning, purchasing have all agreed to this.
And
Okay.
it wouldn't preclude anybody else from making presentations or otherwise making suggestions to the oversight committee with regard to the new facilities.
Such as CJAC.
Correct.
It's my understanding that this will just be the staff that support them administratively.
Correct. That is
building
correct.
agendas,
So
things like that. Okay.
If someone from the mental health community wanted to come and make a presentation regarding the facilities within the jail, they could ask that an item be placed on and speak. If CJAC wanted to do that, they could do the same. This just provides the staffing.
Because I certainly expect to work with CJAC. I mean, I think they've been a huge resource. We invest in them. That's been questioned before. What do we get out of them? So I don't want them to be precluded for sure. So, okay. Discussion from you. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 68 is related to the jail. It is a recommendation that you all send out an RFP for potential jail site locations. 40 to 80 acres, access to utilities, ingress, egress, especially as it is to major arterial roadways. As you know, when you all approved the $40 million for the behavioral health, Mr. Tardy-Bono did a good job of kind of laying out the time frame that you needed to hit. My understanding was it was going to be co-located with the new oversight board about to get started. This was really the initial step in our eyes that we need to get that out there. They could open these proposals, begin to review them, and then ultimately make a recommendation to you. So that's what this item would do.
Joe, is there a reason they limited it to 80 acres?
Commissioner, as I recall, the presentations, the various presentations that we've seen over several years, I believe 80 acres was the largest site. I'd had some conversations with Stacy, and I think he said minimally 40. So that's why it was the 40 to acre range. Also, in addition to the possible purchase, someone could say, we'd like to donate. So,
right. My biggest concern is limiting it to 80 acres. If we start working with some of these state agencies, city, mental health, stuff like that, we start co-locating, do we limit ourselves? Is there an ability for us just to pull off the cap, if you will?
I think that ability would exist. We would need to probably bring it back because we can go down but not up.
Yeah,
we could ask the DA's
Are we
office.
going down or are we just removing?
Yeah.
Rod, do you have an off-the-cuff opinion?
If we just remove the 40 or 80, do you see a problem with limiting it at all? Just saying that we're putting out an RFP.
Putting out an RFP according to this agenda item, I see no problem. But if you're talking about some change in the future, this doesn't anticipate.
Well, and the item does say approximately 40 to 80 acres.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Doesn't have
Let's get rolling.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's an exciting day.
Yeah.
There was one change to the attached item. We added the county clerk also as a potential cardholder. This was presented to the Policy and Governance Committee as a change to our pilot program to allow for other offices, department heads, or their representative to be able to be a cardholder. As you can see with this list, you have most offices represented, but there were some that opted not to participate at this time. They can always bring that request to the BOCC at any time to request to be a cardholder. The limits that you see here, the standard limit, as you can see, is a $5,000 card limit. That is a recommended amount simply because according to policy, you cannot transact more than 5,000 at a time per transaction. So your limit could be more than that. One office does have more, that is the assessor's office, primarily due to their need for travel and multiple people that travel, it could become costly. So that is the reason for that. Other than that, we would follow the same process that is put in place right now. Every cardholder must attend required training through the OSU County Training Program, as well as sign a release with myself so that I issue the card to them and they can always check it back into me if they so choose. There's a couple different arrangements for that. So this is being presented to the BOCC today. We're expanding the program a little bit, not what we can use it for, but just who has the access to it.
And I just want to clarify, when I had a purchase card when I was at City County Health Department, every purchase we made on it actually had to have a PO in advance.
Yes.
Is that the case with this as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Purchase orders must still be in place prior to using
Okay.
the card.
Okay.
Keith, you didn't want one? I would think of all people. You're always coming and saying, I need a little bit of money. Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Did
Thank
you want
you.
to consider the blanket?
Yes, I was going to ask you if we could do that now.
Yes. I don't remember what item it was.
It's way at the top.
Item 7, the amendment to the blanket is in regards to the engineering agreement with Smith Roberts Baldishweiler. That's requisition 123-04146 in the amount of $7,400. And I just recommend to add that to the list.
Okay. I'll move approval of our blanket purchase orders, including the addition that Ms. Bosa just mentioned.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner comments?
Yes, it was a wonderful MLK weekend. There were events every day that I was able to attend. The parade yesterday, if any of you were there, I think it was the best attended MLK Day parade in a long time. It was really cool to see. And then I think today is Cody Compton's 10 years working here at Oklahoma County. Is that correct? Okay. Is there anything special you get at 10 years? Yeah.
More annual leave.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Okay. District 3.
No.
All right. Is there any new business? If not, is there a motion to recess into executive session?
I'll move we recess.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
As long as we get to open it.
I love family. Uh, I just love that I'm not the new person. I have a stamp.
Okay, was there a motion to return to regular session?
I'll move we return.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On item 70.
I will move we
No.
Item 72.
Oh,
Item
yeah, excuse me, 72.
72. I move we appoint Commissioner Mon to represent us in mediation on March 17th.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. And then item 73, I move we will proceed as discussed.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any citizens wishing to speak? I should have done that before we went into executive session. Seeing none, is there any new business? Again, no. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move we adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Can you tell me if you have that number in your phone? Do we log in here? Scroll down. Okay. You ready?
It says view. It doesn't say join, if that's a problem. There we go. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, I'll call the PBA together. All three trustees are present. It was properly posted on January 12th. This is the wrong one for me. think. Says prayer and pledge. Is that on? Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Reoccurring items, is there a motion to approve the claims?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Monroe.
Item 3 is a like item just passed by the BOCC. It's a lease agreement for court services, third floor of the Investors Capital Building.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 4 is a like item for mental health court.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 5 is a like item for drug court.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You're not eyeing over here. Okay. The report of fees for December.
Move to receive.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That was for the PBA. And this is number 7 is for Metro.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Commissioners, this is not allowed by the indenture and was mistakenly put on, so motion to strike. Unless you guys want to change the indenture and start appointing your deputies, which I don't believe we want to.
No. I will click second when it will let me.
All right.
Did you give it? Did you approve it?
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Did we
Second.
vote yes on that one?
Okay. Oh, sorry.
We're on 8.
We're on 8.
8 is motion.
And
to
you said you
strike.
struck it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, in favor of striking, say aye.
Aye.
And item 9 is to appoint Don Cash as my representative on the advisory council and Chelsea Barnett to be her second alternate.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 10 is an agreement with the Delta Sigma Theta sorority for use of the event space at Lincoln.
Motion to approve. They got their insurance?
Mhm.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 11 are parking spaces.
Motion to approve.
What maybe this is the wrong question. What percentage of our parking garage is now being used on a daily basis? I know not everyone who has a pass uses the garage every day.
I don't know what that figure is to date. We had fallen to less than 50% a number of years ago, and that's been steadily improving. I don't know what that number is today, but I can have it for you next time.
Okay. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 12 is to appropriate $68,094.52 to Lincoln.
Motion
Funding
to appropriate.
Were you going to say what it's going to be used for?
Imminent and salaries.
Okay. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 13 is to appropriate $149,220.32 to Metro Parking. salary, benefits, travel, and operations.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like item for the Investors Capital Building in the amount of $78,639.42. Benefits, operating, and capital.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 15 is for Kraus appropriation in the amount of $20,332.98 to fund operating.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 16 is to put into PBA reserve the amount of $37,339.50.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any citizens who wish to be heard for PBA?
Thank you, Keith.
Any board comments?
Nope.
Any new business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Appreciate it. Well, they sent me this, and then they want to meet me for